Hi, and welcome to Creative Whims Studio. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for being here. And if you're new, my channel is about punch needle, cross stitch, and art because I'm a designer of punch needle and cross stitch and I'm also an artist, so I share pretty much everything that's going on in the studio, and I share some fun little life stories. And anyways, welcome. Thanks for being here. I hope everyone had a great week and got lots of good things done. We had a great week. Well, let me just start by saying, last week when I edited my video, I will never do this again. I get to a point in the day where I just want to be up at the house. Like, I've had enough of being in the studio, and I want to go up there and edit my video and all of the things. Plus, it got late and I needed to start dinner. So I'm up at the house cooking dinner and visiting with my husband, and I totally deleted part of a story I was telling. So as you may know, I put it on my Facebook page, so you can go check it out here if you want. It's pinned to the top, so it's easy to find, but I won't do that again. The best thing for me to do is film earlier in the day and then edit in the studio where it's quiet. There's no distractions. So today is the first day of summer. It is June 21st. This is my 29th Flosstube. And it was in the 50s this morning. I mean, it got darn right cold last night. And I'm thinking, what is going on? I'm in Michigan and the weather's been insane. We've had so much rain. The farmers, I mean, this is how high the corn is, and a lot of the corn is just not even going to make it. It's just a lot of flooding, and I know there's other parts of the country suffering with the same thing. So pray for our farmers. I mean, that's our food source. It's not just about the farmers, it's about our country as a whole. And I don't know, just the rain that, creates more mosquitoes, and I haven't went out in my gardens and pulled weeds or did anything since, I don't know. I really don't know when. A few weeks ago anyways, because we bought mulch. We were ready to put the mulch down, but it's just been crappy weather. It's been cold and it's been rainy, and the mosquitoes will seriously carry you off. Father's Day, I'll insert a photo of the beautiful day we had. We could have had better weather, but it wasn't too bad. It started out rainy, but it was actually nice enough to then do a cookout. So Kevin slow cooked ribs and chicken on the grill, and it was absolutely fantastic. And then we had a salad. I made my garlic roasted potatoes that everyone just raves about. There was like 6 pounds of potatoes, and they were gone. We like our potatoes here. What else did I make though? I know something else to go with it. And then Brianna had her birthday Monday, June 17th. So we celebrated her birthday, and we had German chocolate cake, which is her favorite, with ice cream and everything. And so that was such a beautiful day. Whenever we can spend it with our family, right? It's wonderful. I started shipping orders on Monday to the shops for all the new releases. And so thank you, because evidently y'all told your shops that you wanted some punch needle and cross stitch, because the orders were big, the orders were many, and they're still coming in. I have a couple more that I just got that they just ordered yesterday, and I had Ellery, so I couldn't, obviously fill them, but I'll fill them today. And then I'm actually caught up, guys. I thought, oh, I'll have everything shipped by Tuesday, and I wanted to paint Wednesday. I need to pick up a paintbrush before I lose my mind. I haven't painted in a long time, and but I just couldn't. I had, huge orders. It was awesome. So my gratitude to you guys for getting a hold of your shops, and thank you to all my shops for supporting me and carrying my cross stitch and punch needle. It's fantastic. And then yesterday we had Ellery, and the boys came over, and it was so neat because she is just hilarious. She's so full of life and personality, and the boys came over and Kevin, we were all out on the deck, and it was chilly. I mean, I went in because it was too cold because I was barefoot and I didn't have a jacket on. I went in to get a jacket, and they all came in anyway. So, but it was chilly. It was like 50 degrees, but we wanted to get some fresh air. And anyways, Kevin said something that just really struck me. He said, thank you, Ellery, so much because you bring our family together, which she does. I mean, we get to see Brianna, Kyle, and Ryan once a week. And if, and not every single week, because there's sometimes that the kids can't make it over or something, but she really does bring us together, and we just have so much fun with her. So she's just a total blessing. Let's see what else. Okay, that's pretty much my week in a nutshell. My plan for next week, please, Lord, I really want to paint. I need to paint. Well, see this pillow behind me? I don't know if you can see it. This pillow is actually, I charted this painting. The original painting I gave to my friend Kristen that lives in Nashville. I know, I mention her, I swear, every video. I gave her the original painting. And then I had this pillow made, which I absolutely love. I also made her, Kristen, a fleece blanket, a huge fleece blanket of this painting, and it turned out fantastic. But this is from mycreativewhims.com, where I have print-on-demand dropship products. Well, I charted this angel for cross stitch, and I have yet to pull the floss and send it out. And also, I'm repainting it because Donna Fidawa, that stitched the Rejoice angel, instead, what she does, she'll stitch an angel for me, and then she in trade, I give her an original painting. So she loves that one so much that I'm going to repaint that for Donna, and I want to get that done next week. And I also need to paint the last calendar image for my 2021 calendar. November is the only one I haven't painted, and I just want to get into the paints again. So, and here's the other things I'm doing next week. It's going to be a busy week. I'm also pulling the floss for as many charts as I can. Remember, for Stitch Mania, I designed a cross stitch a day. So I need to pull the floss and get those sent out to my model stitchers. I probably have more designs than I have model stitchers. So if that's something you're interested in, you can email me at this email right here and we can talk about it. Also, my big thing that I want to do is start at least 3 new punch needles designs. I'm going to start an angel because everyone's been like, why don't you do the angels and punch needle? So I'm going to try one and see how it goes. I think I'm going to start with Rejoice. But I also want to start a couple, like my normal designs, primitive ones. And I've never had more projects than one going on at a time. I've been a monogamous puncher all these years. And so I'm excited to see how it goes having 3 going at one time. I don't know. I may not like it, but I'm going to try it. I want to give a shout out this week to Daylene of So Grateful. I heard about her through Holly and Anita, I believe. I forget the name of their channel. Stitch in a Dream, maybe? I don't know. I'm going to insert it here if I'm wrong. They shouted her out. And I love it when people do that because then I go check these people out. Well, I really liked Daylene. It was fun. I watched her June 10th video. It was number 12 of her Flosstube. And she mentioned something that she'd actually heard from Teresa Vanette from Kitten Stitcher, which she also has a Flosstube channel. So I guess I'm doing a double shout out. But so Teresa was talking about, you know, the old samplers. Wouldn't it be cool if there was more information about the little girl that stitched that sampler? You know, a photo of them, even if it wasn't a photo, but, you know, a little bit more information about the girl that stitched it. So Teresa mentioned that when you stitch a sampler, you should put a photo of you holding the sampler and then a little write-up saying, you know, whose design it was, you know, the name of the pattern, and, you know, just information about it and the date, obviously. And then the picture of you, and maybe make a little pocket on the back of however you finished it, if you framed it or something. And that I love that idea. I think every flosstuber, everyone that has a Flosstube channel should mention that and give Teresa Vanette the credit. But mention it because I think everybody should do that. I think that's really cool. And what I'm going to start doing, because I don't do cross stitch, is I will put a note on all of mine on the back that says who, you know, I designed it, but who, you know, who stitched it, and the date, or the, I guess right now I'd have to say the year, because to go back and figure out what date things were done would be insane. But also I decided I'm going to do that for my original paintings, and I'm going to have it more elaborate with my originals. It'll be a picture of me holding the original, and if it's a really big one, it'll be me standing next to it. But a little write-up of why I painted it and what this painting means to me or something. And I think, wow, that would be really cool, because, you know, especially because I don't necessarily sell all my originals, and, you know, to hand them down through the family, and it will just, I think it's awesome. So all you Flosstubers out there, if you happen to watch my channel, mention this on your Flosstube, because we got to get that word out. I think that's a fantastic idea. Announcements this week. So like I said, by the end of today, all the orders will be shipped. Oh, hold on. Okay, so like I said, by the end of today, the orders will be shipped. So go to your shops and go shopping. And I know there's other designers that have had releases recently. Everyone does it different. There's not, I mean, the Nashville is obvious because it's a show that we all go to, but I know everyone kind of does releases throughout the year on their own time. I mentioned my newsletter last week, and this is the last warning. If you don't belong to my newsletter, you want to do that now. If you would like to get a coupon code to shop at my Etsy shop, I haven't determined exactly the percentage off, and I mean, I haven't really given it a lot of thought. I haven't even created the newsletter yet, so that will be going out next week at some point, probably before Thursday. If not, it will be Friday. And I will have a link below how you can join my newsletter, but it's super easy. It's teresakogut.com/newsletter. That's it, and you can sign up. Oh, okay, so I got from Amber Lotus, I got the new angel calendars. Amber Lotus, this is the second year that they have included me in their angel calendar. This one's called Guardian Angels, Blessings and Inspiration. And my image is, I believe it's August. It's kind of funny because I think my angel looks out of place in this calendar, to be honest, to be quite honest. But this is Glory Day. This is one of my angel paintings, and she graces August. But here's the back where it shows all the different angels. And so, like, really, mine's way more stylized and more folk art kind of looking. But they're beautiful. They're really beautiful. Everyone did a beautiful job. And so on each page, there's a little, like this one says, Angel of Serenity, close your eyes, dear one, and breathe in this moment of peace. Feel the air swirl around you, wafted by soft feathers of light and love. Reach out with your heart and touch the serene presence that is always near. Ooh, that's beautiful. So if you're interested, these are my samples. I ordered some last year for 2019 and they didn't sell, so I'm not ordering any. So all I have is what they sent me for my samples, and there's only a handful of them. I'm going to keep one and I'll put the other ones on Etsy, and when they're gone, they're gone. Oh God, you guys, I got something to talk about that's, I'm kind of in a panic. When I buy weaver's cloth, I buy it by the bolt, and I buy like 3 bolts at a time because I never want to get low on it. Well, I'm extremely low. Like, if I can't get weaver's cloth soon, Punchneedle will come to a screeching halt. I mean, unless I have it in stock, I'm not going to be able to ship it until I can get weaver's cloth. I always buy it from Punchneedle Marketplace. Well, I called them. I've been calling them all week, and it rings and rings and rings, and then it says, put in your remote pin. Well, I don't have that. I'm like, okay. They have 2 numbers. I called both. I've emailed them to place my order. Nothing. Their website is still up, so it looks like they're doing business, but I don't know what's going on. So I'm in a panic, and I text Michelle Palmer. She is a beautiful artist. Oh, her watercolors are to die for. She also creates punch needle, and her punch needle designs are absolutely stunning. And if you have never seen them, I'm going to insert some for you just so you can take a look. But she's in the Punch Needle Primitive Stitchers magazine pretty much every quarter as well. Anywho, I contacted her to see where she gets her weaver's cloth, and she doesn't put the cloth in her patterns, so she doesn't have to buy it by the bolt like I do. Anyways, she mentioned Springs. So she said, well, what company makes the weaver's cloth that you buy from Punchneedle Marketplace? Duh, I didn't even think of that. Went downstairs, grabbed one of the cardboard things that the weaver's cloth is wrapped around for the bolt, and it's from Springs. So I've contacted Springs, and I'm trying to set up an account, but they're not getting back with me either. Panicsville! So if you know of anywhere else to get weaver's cloth, hold on. So if you have another source for weaver's cloth, let me know, because I would like to have a couple sources, because I don't ever want to be in this pickle again where I'm down to like maybe 7 or 8 pieces. That's it. We ate through like 3 bolts of weaver's cloth like that for this new release. Questions and answers. I only have one from Doreen Brannon. Thank you, Doreen. She said, do you keep all of your creations, gift them, or sell them? And I don't know if she means paintings, cross-stitch, punch needle, but I'm just going to answer for all 3. Cross-stitch and punch needle. I keep most of them because when I go to the Nashville market, I have them all on display with the patterns on tables below. So I need to keep them. I don't keep all of them because I'm running out of room for displaying. So I have been selling some of my punch needle models. I haven't sold any cross-stitch models yet. And as far as gifting them, I have given some as gifts. And then as far as my paintings go, I keep some. I have a lot in here right now. I keep some and I sell some. I have a lot up at the house. I have a lot down at the studio. I mean, I have, and then I have like bins full of watercolor paintings. Like I said, I've said in previous videos that I'm up to over 4,000 paintings now. So that's a lot of paintings. But the watercolor paintings, I've tried to sell them through Etsy before. They didn't sell real well. And I think it's because the sizes are so odd. You know, they're just watercolor paper, so they're not necessarily 8 by 10, 11 by 14. You can't just go out and buy a frame, so you'd have to get a custom frame made, and I think that intimidates people. But I might try to sell some of them again, because I have a ton of them, and I want them to be enjoyed by people rather than sitting in a bin in a plastic sleeve. And then she said, you always pull stuff from years ago, and wondered if you make multiples or do you keep everything? No, I don't make multiples. What you see is what I've kept for shows, or if it's art, it's something I'm, maybe keeping for my studio or my home, or I do sell it. So, okay, this week's weekly whims. Oh my gosh, you guys, I made a BLT salad. I've never even thought of making a BLT salad. I never even heard of it, and I saw it on Facebook. And then I couldn't go back and find the actual one from Facebook, so I just searched it in Google. I'm telling you, Google is the way to find out anything you need to know. I made it so it's a head of lettuce, and I used red leaf lettuce. Now, when I make it again, I will mix red leaf lettuce with iceberg lettuce, because iceberg has more of a crunch. And when I actually make a BLT, we usually use iceberg because you want the crunch. Because when I made the salad, the next day the red leaf lettuce was kind of wilty. So it's a head of lettuce, a pound of bacon, and I did 2 pounds of bacon because I was making bacon for breakfast as well. So I probably put 1.5 pounds of bacon in mine, because you can never have too much bacon. Then it's tomatoes. I had these 2 huge tomatoes. that if they were from your garden, it would be to die for. But these were store-bought, and they didn't have a lot of flavor, and they were a little bit mushy, and I was not pleased with that. But you could even use the small cherry tomatoes because they are so sweet, and I think that's what I'm going to do next time. And then when the tomatoes are ripe from your garden, you could use that. And then the dressing is, I think it was a cup. I don't know. I'll have the recipe below. But like a cup of mayo, and then you add garlic powder and pepper and a little bit of milk so that it gets kind of creamy, and you pour that over and mix it all up. And I love salad, but to sit and cut that crap up every single day, it just takes so long. So a lot of times I end up skipping it because it's an effort and I don't have a lot of time. But to make something like that, like on a Sunday, and eat it through the week, heck yeah, I'm gonna do it. Another weekly whim. Oh my goodness, if you have Alexa, or, well, I'm just talking strictly about Alexa, but I'm sure it would work on Pandora. I do not have Spotify and iHeartRadio. I think that those other two I don't have, and I've never used them, so I don't know how they work. But when I'm at the house, all I say is, Alexa, play Steely Dan station. And they play the best mix of, if you like Steely Dan and that kind of a genre of music, you will love it. I mean, the Eagles, all this classic rock, but not heavy, softer, James Taylor, all that. It is easy listening, and it's awesome. And my mom loves it so much, she's playing it now. Okay, I'm going to be inserting close-up photos that I took of this iris, and I have some other ones that I'm going to insert. But we had so much rain that my irises, those beautiful purple irises, just fell over. And Kevin cut one of them and brought it in the house, and there was one getting ready to bloom, and then there was one in full bloom. Well, when the one in full bloom died, I cut it off, and I didn't think the one that hadn't opened yet would open, but it did. And I just put it in water, and it opened. Well, I just was looking closely at it one day, and I said, this is such a work of art. I mean, God is the master painter, is he not? And so I took, and this is just done with my phone, and then some of them I put in Instagram and messed with them, but they're not all of them are, edited. What do you call that? No, like no filter type of thing. Hashtag no filter. But I'm inserting the close-up pictures that I took of this iris, and it is absolutely stunning. Have you ever looked at an iris closely? I have never looked at an iris that closely, and it was amazing. And then I took, my peonies are blooming right now, but they aren't as intricate as the iris. But I just wanted to show you those because I thought I would like to paint them, to be honest with you, like big paintings. It reminds me of Georgia O'Keeffe. She painted these big, huge flowers, like super close up. Oh, they're just stunning. Another weekly whim, staples.com. For all of you folks that own your own business, or designers or whatever, go to staples.com. If you are on the rewards program, you can put your number in there and earn rewards that way. But if you place an order, they will deliver it the next day for free. And I go through those big, huge boxes that have like 10 reams of paper in them, which have, I think there's 500 pieces of paper per ream, and then there's 10 of those. So they're super heavy. And anything that I can get delivered here, like that's why I love Amazon. If you can get something delivered to your house for free, why spend the gas and the time to go and get it? So I don't know if you're aware of that, but I use that quite a bit for my printer ink, for paper, and what else do I normally get? Those are the two main things. But if you're out of tape, or you're out of whatever it is on their site, it will be shipped to you the next day. And my last weekly whim that I love, and I don't know why I never thought to talk about this before, but JBL makes speakers, and my husband uses the JBLs for his bands, the two bands that he's in. Well, they have this JBL clip, and my husband's had one for a long time, and then it broke. And then I bought one for him and one for me. Well, the sound on the JBL speaker is absolutely incredible, and I sync it with my smartphone, and then when I'm down here working I keep this at the studio. I do not have this at the house because I have Alexa and I don't need this at the house. But I use it down here to listen to my podcasts, to listen to music, what have you, because I have Pandora on my phone. So yeah, JBL speaker, I have it in my Amazon shop, and they are around 40 bucks, 34. There's different ones, but if you want a colored one that has, this triangle clip, I will have that one in my Amazon store. But for about 40 bucks, they're amazing. And they're wireless, and when you charge it, when it's got a full charge, it lasts a long time before it needs charged again. And if it does, if the charger wears out and you aren't somewhere that you can charge it, you can plug your phone this directly into your phone. Well, that's if you have a phone that has earbud jacks. Mine doesn't, because the new Apple or the new iPhones don't have that phone jack, which I think is really stupid that they got rid of that. Anywho, I recommend that JBL to anyone that loves to listen to music that sounds good. Listening to it out of my phone is like not so good. Whips. No whips again, guys, because shipping orders. Previous finishes. Okay. I'm going to show a couple quilts. Through my licensing career, I worked with 3 different companies that I designed fabric for. First, it was South Sea Imports. Then, actually, when I started with South Sea Imports, what is the name of? MM Fab. MM Fab was the name of it. That's when I first started designing fabric. And they did fabric for Joanne and all of that. And it was like panels where you could make a vest to wear, Christmas stockings, all of these different things. Well, then I switched from MM Fab to South Sea Imports. It's the same company, but South Sea Imports was the quilting fabric. So it's a little, better quality fabric, and they were selling that to quilt shops. And I worked with them for, I don't even know how many years, a long time. And I used to come out with about 6 lines a year. I mean, it was kind of, for my licensing career, basically they kept me busy probably 90% of the time. And the art, though, would translate to other products so well that other companies would license that same work for different products. So it worked out beautifully. Okay, so having said that, when South Sea Imports would go to Quilt Market, they wanted the fabric made into a quilt and have it on display because obviously it helps to sell the fabric better. So they used to make the quilts, and then after the show they would give them to me. Give them to me. I have several quilts that they gave to me after the show was over. I will show those over time. But then it came to a point where they said, we need you to supply if you want a quilt in the show, you have to supply the quilt. Well, I'm not a quilter, nor did I have time to make a quilt. So I found some wonderful ladies to work with, and they would make the quilts, and I would pay them, and then after the show, I would get the quilt. So I'm going to read the tag on the back of this quilt. This line of fabric is called Blueberry Hill, and it's teddy bears and black bears, and they're fishing and they're eating blueberries, and it's super, super cute. So it says Blueberry Hill, made especially for Teresa Kogut, with thanks and gratitude by Patchwork Friends Guild, pieced by Jan Rhodes, quilted by Arlene Minto, October of 2003. See that label? That right there. If that wasn't on there, I couldn't tell you the year. I couldn't tell you. I knew Arlene Minto quilted it, but I wouldn't know who pieced it. That's going back to what Teresa Vanette said, that we need to, put our picture and information on the back of our projects. And I think that's super smart. So I can't back up enough for you to see the whole quilt, but this is not a super large quilt. It's kind of a small lap quilt. And I think that's called a log cabin style design, but I want to get up close so that you can see. So we got the plaid on the side, and then the two ends, wow, that's upside down. The two ends have, because when I designed my line, we would design a border, so this would be the border fabric. We would design pillow panels, coordinating pieces, which would be this plaid. You know, you can see all the different fabrics that went into that line. I would do like a sampler fabric skew. I don't know, there was just a lot of, I mean, I would paint between 12 to 15 skews. And when I say skews, I mean one would be a pillow panel, one would be, oh, like here's one of the pillow panels. One would be the border. I would do a mini stripe. I would do a mini, oh, and a large repeating stripe. So anyway, there was several, and all the coordinates. So there was several different pieces that would go into one line. And then I'm showing you this one. This was the first quilt that I ever made. And I used to go to Curves, okay? When I don't even know if Curves is still around. But I would go to Curves and work out. And I was always the youngest person in there because I would drop the kids off at Holy Rosary at school. And then on my way home, I would pass Curves. So I'd go in and work out, and then I'd come home, blah, 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 start my day. And so all the ladies my age were at work. So all the ladies that were there were older ladies that were retired. And so my mother-in-law would work out there. I miss her so much. My mother-in-law and a couple of her friends would work out there. And some of the other ladies, because they all lived in the neighborhood, some of the other ladies that worked out there lived over by my mom, and they you know, and my mom would join me sometimes. I mean, it was like fun. This is like the most fun I ever had working out. I mean, I'd leave there sweating, like, but the whole time talking and visiting with these ladies. And anyways, we decided, because a lot of them quilted, and I said, you know, they obviously, because we talked a lot, they knew I designed fabric, and they knew I would love to make a quilt of my fabric. So we had like a little class. We went to this lady's house, and she would give us homework. She'd show us what we had to do. We had to go home and do it when we come back the next week. And so we kept doing that. And then when it was all done, her and her husband did all the quilting, put the pieces, well, I pieced it, but then she did the quilting. Anywho, it was my first quilt ever. And since then, let me finish. Since then, I have pieced another quilt with my mom. I was trying to teach my mom how to quilt. Why I would teach someone how to quilt when I've only made one, I don't know. But we picked a really easy pattern, and we worked on it together, and we both got them pieced, but they're still hanging in my closet. This was before my dad got really, really sick. So we're talking, it's probably been 10 years. And they're still hanging in my closet to be quilted. They're like wrapped in a garbage bag. So I need to contact Arlene Minto and see if she'll quilt them for us. I should do that for my mom and surprise her with it for Christmas or something. Okay, so we have, oh, what was the name of this line? See, this one doesn't have a tag on it because I'm an idiot. And when I made this quilt, I didn't put the tag on it. But look at this lush, beautiful fabric. I love it. Oh, I think this was called Quilting Queen Bee. So this is, oh, I love this. It's so stinking cute. This has all these little teddy bears, and they're dressed up as bees. And one of them has that right here. One of them has a crown on. I'm going to see if I can get a zoom in on that for you. See if I can find a better one. It's so stinking cute. Anyways, Quilting Queen Bee, look at her. So they're just these little bears dressed up as bees, and they're quilting. So that was my first quilt, and I keep this on my bed up at the house, like folded up at the end of the bed. I'm gonna fold this real quick. So there you have it. And like I said, I will be filtering in other quilts as I locate them. because I have them put away. I used to have this huge quilt that South Seas made. It's called Dashing Through the Snow, and it is fabulous. And it used to cover this entire wall over here. But I have them safely put away. I'm just not sure where they're at offhand. Alrighty then. Now we're going to go to, these are all previous finishes because I don't have any finishes because I haven't been working on anything. So we'll start out with cross stitch finishes. This one is called Give Ye Thanks. Alright, we're turning this sucker off. So this is Give Ye Thanks. Cross stitch 125. Stitch 2 over 2 on 30 count linen. Approximate finish size is 7 by 5 1/4. This was stitched, I forgot last week to mention who stitched what, and I feel really badly about that, so my apologies. This was stitched by Susan Duke of Lodi, California. It was stitched on 30 count Weeks Dye Works Cocoa. Stitch count 106 wide by 82 high. Next we have cross stitch 081. It's easier doing this. Cross stitch 081 Joy. Stitch 2 over 2 on 30 count linen, Weeks Dye Works Mocha. It's a little bit darker than the cocoa. These were early ones. This stitch by Rosalie Colby of Maine. Measures 7 3/4 by 6, which is 121. The stitch count is 121 wide by 95 high. And I just love that he's got the little sheep. The little Americana Santa. I mean, who doesn't love Americana Santas? Okay. And then, I got a little special one for you. And then for, well, for punch needle, I only have 2. Because I had 3, but what happened was, one of them was in Punchneedle Primitive Stitchers magazine for December, and I was thinking I'd already released the pattern, and I'm looking all over for the pattern. I'm like, well, what is going on? Well, I have it released in cross stitch, but the punch needle was in the magazine, so I can't release it until I'll probably release it at Market, Nashville Market 2020, just 2020. Okay, Woolly Estate. Now the 2 I'm showing you, I keep up at my house. I love punch needle so much. I love cross stitch too, but I have more of my punch needle finished, like fully finished, than I do my cross stitch. Okay, this is PN147 Woolly Estate. Measures 725 by 7 1/4 by 5 inches. And it's mostly done, well, no, about half and half. Weeks Dye Works. 3 colors of Weeks Dye Works and 4 colors of DMC floss. Oh, and 1 of Valdani floss. But on the back of my punch needle, I do give the DMC equivalent if you want to change it out. So well, obviously the last 2 I showed of cross stitch were just framed. And then this one was, it adhered to a plaque that I got at Joann. And then I painted Woolly Estate 1812. I love the colors in that one. So there you go. Then I have this one. Now this was one of my very first punch needle designs. I don't even have the pattern anymore. I don't sell the pattern anymore. This one, however, is actually punched by my mom. And I need to write that on the back of this. Yeah, my mom, she struggled with punch needle, but she kept working at it and she finally got it. She doesn't really do any kind of crafts anymore. She's picking up her crochet again, and she wants to make some crocheted things. So I love to see her doing something like that, you know, something creative. But anyway, isn't that precious that my mom did that? I love it. And I love that frame. I painted that frame for her, antiqued it for her. So there you go. Previous finishes. Check. Okay, haul. Well, last week when I did a haul, I totally forgot some things because they were behind me from Hoblob. So my Hoblob haul, I also got this, like, what do you call these things? Breadboards. It's obviously not antique, but it says eat on it. So it's to hang in your kitchen and it says eat. Well, I'm not doing that. I'm going to paint angels or folk art or something on the other side. So I got 2 that shape, and then I got 2 round ones. It also says eat on the front. Again, I'm going to paint on the back. Sometimes when I sell a painting, an original painting, I have regrets. And this happened one time. I had this huge, one of those kind of breadboards, but it was like huge, and it was real primitive. It was dark wood, and I painted Crow House on it. Let me grab Crow House just so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so this is Crow House. I thought, let me just go look real quick. I thought I did this in cross stitch, but I wasn't seeing it. I don't know what I have and what I don't have anymore. 38, no. Okay. So I do not have this in cross stitch. Why? I don't know. But I love this. So on that huge round dough board, breadboard, whatever you want to call it, I did this design, but in round. So it had the penny rug type things around the end, or, you know, in a circle. Oh my gosh. Anyway, it was stunning. And I sold it. And now I'm like, why did you sell that, you idiot? Because I would hang that in my house in a heartbeat. But you know, can't keep everything, right? Other haul that I have is from mycreativewhims.com. Here's the website. mycreativewhims.com is a print-on-demand drop ship website. So it's my artwork. It's everything on there I've designed. And it's you know, my angels, it's kind of my folk art. There's all these different whimsy chicks, all these things on there. So when you order, let's say you order a pillow and you order a phone case. Well, those come from 2 different companies. So first of all, you have to allow time, because once you place the order, it goes to these companies and then they create that product from scratch. They have to print it, especially if you buy a pillow, they print it, they sew it, and then ship it. So it takes a little while. However, I just had a lady order a pillow like Monday, and it's already shipped. It shipped yesterday. So, I mean, they you know, depending on how busy they are at the time you place your order. Also, you have to keep in mind that they would be coming, those 2 products will be coming from 2 different companies. So you might get the pillow, but not the phone case, because maybe the pillow got done quicker than the phone case. And anyways, I just want to explain that because I think people get confused. I try to explain it on the website. I think it says what to expect, and it kind of goes through all that, but not everybody reads that. So I ordered some things because I love this stuff so much. And some of this will be, I don't know if I'm putting it all on my Etsy shop or not, but a lot of times I like to just test the system once in a while and make sure everything's going well and see how, because there can be glitches, and I just want to make sure when I place an order on there, I kind of test it and see how long it takes them to ship it, because one lady placed an order and there was a glitch and she never got her order, and it took like 3 weeks for the company to get everything unglitched. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, I placed a test order, and I'm probably going to keep this one. I meant to do a little more research on these gravestones, but these, you know, if you go to Pinterest or even Google and just look up angel gravestones, or you know, antique or vintage gravestones, you know, they have the angels usually on the gravestone, and they're very primitive looking, and I love them. They're just gorgeous. Well, that was a painting that I did, an acrylic painting, you know, of one of those gravestones. And anyway, I made it into a pillow, and I think this one I'm going to keep. And I love that it's just muted colors so that it can go in any room. This one, I love it, but I don't know. You can only have so many pillows, guys. I really love this painting. This is called Peace, Angel of Peace. And it was one of my very first angels when I started painting acrylic angels. This was one of the very first ones that I created. And it was before I did the watercolor paper, or the scrapbook paper underneath. But I love the color, the sagey greens in that. I'm telling you, these companies do a fantastic job. But just so you can kind of see the size of it, it's perfect to set on your bed or on your couch. That one I'm probably going to put in Etsy. And then this bag, I'm debating if I'm going to keep the bag or not. I have so many tote bags, you guys. But I love this one. It's called the Weekender, and so it's a little bit different. It's got a nice long shape. It does not zip. It does not have pockets. It's one of those ones you take to the beach. You throw in your towel, but I like that it's not deep, but it's wide instead. I mean, look at this thing. Isn't that cool? Look at it. You could put your purse, your water bottle, your beach towel. I mean, it's nice and big, and look at the color. I love it. This was basically, Star Quilt used to be a punch needle pattern that I have discontinued. So I took that drawing and in Photoshop, I painted the Star Quilt in Photoshop, and then I repeated it. And then I put a crackle filter over top of it. So you can maybe kind of see. I love all these colors. They're all kind of muted. Isn't it cool? Anywho, I'd like to make more products with that pattern because I think it would be cool for pillows and different things. So I don't know, I may end up keeping this, but if I do keep it, all you got to do is go to mycreativewhims.com and then search Weekender Tote, or you could search Star Quilt, and this should come up if that's something you're interested in. That's it for haul, y'all. All right, I'm going to add a new, oh Lord, where is it? Please tell me I brought it down. I got to find it. Okay, so I'm going to insert a couple pictures here of Ellery from yesterday. She has a favorite book. It's a Christmas book. But I'm going to start a new thing on my Flosstube, and it's going to be Ellery's book review or something like that. And it's going to be like the book of the book of the month or the book of the week, or, you know, whatever. Like next week, she might not even want this book. She might want a different one. I mean, I introduced her to a lot of different books, but there's just some that stick out to her, and I don't know what that is. It could be the rhyming. It could be the pictures. I don't know, because, you know, she doesn't understand the story. Anywho, having said that, I love children's books. I think I've told you before, this cabinet over here is completely chock full of children's books. I have children's books at the house. I want to write children's books. I want to illustrate children's books. I want to own all of the children's books. I love them so, so much. And I'm so excited now to have a little one to read to. I must have read this yesterday 15 times. And at first, you know, I wouldn't let her turn the pages. I wanted her to hear the whole thing. And then it got to where I didn't care. Turn the page. It'll get done quicker. You know? But anyway, this is called Pig the Elf. And I thought, this child is going to grow up thinking that this dog is a pig. Are pigs dogs? Are dogs pigs? What? Like, she's going to be really confused. So I need to get the first book, which is called Pig the Pug. And then he also wrote Pig the Winter. Or the Winter. The Winter. Pig the Winter. See? Whatever. This is by Aaron Blabby. Blabby? That's kind of funny. Aaron Blabby. And I'm just going to read it because it's super quick and it's super adorable. And if you have grandkids, you're going to want to get this book. It says, "Oh, Christmas Eve, that most merry of nights, the carols, the snowflakes, the small twinkly lights. Santa is coming, 'twas bigger than big, but no one was feeling more festive than," and here's the image, "who? Pig. Let me see if I can do this better. That way you can see it as I'm reading. How he loved Christmas, he giggled with glee. The presents for me, 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 me. He'd written his list, and he'd asked for a lot, but Santa takes orders, so why the heck not?" It's so cute. The presents, he screamed out again. "When will he get here? Oh, when? Tell me when." "He'll come when we sleep," said his lovely friend Trevor. But Pig shouted, "Sleep! I'll have none whatsoever." Trevor's a little dachshund. Oh, that's so cute. Sleep is for fools. Oh yes, sleep is for losers. I won't go to bed with the rest of you snoozers. I'm sitting up late. I'll be here when he comes. I declare by my stockings and gingerbread crumbs. So Trevor went dutifully off to his bed, but naughty old Pig stayed up, just like he said. The waiting was endless, but Pig held his ground. Then, at 3:33, well, he heard a strange sound. And guess who had made a mysterious noise? A portly old gent with a bag full of toys. He piled up some presents marked Trevor and Pig, and he picked up his milk and he took a big swig. But then, as he turned to go back on his way, a short, cranky dog appeared, shouting out, "Hey!" I asked for more, hollered Pig in dismay, but Santa turned around and then hurried away. Hey, shouted Pig, sounding very unkind. Then he nipped poor old Santa's big rosy behind. What a bad little piggy pug. Up through the chimney, out to the sleigh. Pig held on tight. You're not getting away. Don't be a cheapskate. I want all my stuff. This pile that you left me is just not enough. Pig's got an attitude. But the sleigh took off fast. Gee, those reindeer were speedy. And away fell their guest. Yes, the elf who was greedy. But as Trevor lay dreaming of holiday cheer, a real Christmas miracle happened right there. Yes, Pig must be blessed. He survived that big drop and was saved by a tree with an angel on top. And look at that cute little angel on top. He landed right on the angel, and he's part of the Christmas tree now. Is that adorable? So it's a little lesson in, you know, being greedy and wanting so much stuff, and you can open up a conversation with a child, I suppose. So that's not necessarily going to be something I do every week. I'm not going to have books every week, but you know, if there's a book that she's really attached to and I have to read it 3,000 times, then I will share it with you. I love them. Okay, giveaway. Man, I got a mess here. I got to move some of the stuff so I can even get to what I need to get to. So last week, the question was your favorite dad moment, because Father's Day was coming up. And the prize is to whoever wins gets to choose one of my 6 new releases. Okay, so I'm going to insert the video now of the winner. Okay, so this week, whoever wins gets to pick one of my new releases. And the winner is Becky Cotton. And the question was, what's your favorite dad moment? And she said, I liked your video. My dad moment was when he walked me down the aisle at my wedding. That's a beautiful moment. Well, congratulations, Becky. Thank you, everyone, for participating. And send me your mailing address. So congratulations. Thank you, everyone, for participating. And if you can email me right here, teresakogut3@gmail.com, and give me your mailing address, I'll send that out. I will send that right out. I will send that right out to you. Okay, so this week, I'm going to give away a punch needle model, but I don't have one picked out. So watch me on Instagram, because once I pick out what model I'm going to give away, I will post it on Instagram, and I will also post it on my Facebook page and all the social medias, okay? And this week's question, in order to get in on that drawing, is, do you have any pets? And if you do, what are they and what are their names? That should be a fun one. So I have, as you know, one pet. I've not had just one pet for a very long time. I mean, we've had chickens, we've had turkeys. We usually have 2 dogs, but we are down to one sweet little Athena. I'll insert a picture here. Okay, so Chinese fortune teller. All right, so I asked everyone to help me figure out 3 things that I wanted to get rid of on here. I want to get rid of scary moment. I want to get rid of, what's the other 2? Favorite quote and recipe. So I read through what y'all said, and I picked out from Dishes and Stitches. She said, what about adding an inspirational story? I love that. I really love that idea. What I'm going to do is, the story could be art related. It could be not. It could be just a story of faith. It could be a story of a survivor. I'm really excited about that. Of course, that's going to add a lot of work for me to add this to Flosstube, but sometime, it's not always going to land on that number 1. But I will collect these stories in my book, my trusty little notebook here that I write my notes in. And then that way I can just refer to them easily. So hopefully it doesn't land on that today because I don't have anything picked out. So that's going to be one of them. I also am going to do Did You Know? And that's going to be just interesting facts about maybe, the earth or an animal or some sort of cool thing that is fascinating. And then the other one I'm going to do is going to be called Show and Tell. And it will be, it doesn't necessarily have to be my art or anything of mine. It could be a gift that somebody gave me. It could be a favorite purchase of mine that I've purchased over the years, or whatever. But it's just going to be a show and tell. Eventually, I'm going to switch out one of them for funny Ellery stories. But she's so young right now, and I pretty much talk about it anyway. But when they start talking, oh, that's when the real fun begins. So I'm going to switch that out with funny Ellery stories eventually. Okay, so this week, Katharina, which that is such a beautiful name, Katharina Boyer, she said salmon 10-4. And I thought, cool, a different color, because it doesn't have to be one of these colors. And the first number can be any number you want, but please don't say 300, because I will not pick you. So let's get started. So salmon is S-A-L-M-O-N, and then she said 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then we're going to pick number 4. Tell a funny personal story. I have them too. And I thought of a funny story last week, but I didn't go and write it in this book, and I, for the life of me, can't remember what it is, but I have a list going, so we're good. So this went kind of long, so I'm going to try to pick one that's a little short. Okay, this is a funny story. Every year in August, we used to go to Canada and rent cabins with Kevin's family. And we would spend an entire week there. It was the most fun thing on the planet. We loved it. And the place we would go is called Rice Lake, and they were known for their fishing. We did this back when I don't remember how many years we did it. I want to say we did it for probably 8 years, maybe 10 years. But when we first started doing it, Kyle was very little. Ryan wasn't even born. And then we went long enough for Ryan to barely remember going. Unfortunately, he got screwed again. But it was so fun. The fishing was amazing. I love to go fishing as long as we're catching fish. I'm not one to sit there, and if we're not catching, I'm hightailing it. I don't want to be out there. So we would get up early in the morning and we would go fishing. Kevin's brothers, none of the other women went. It was Kevin and I would be in a small boat, and then Kevin's brothers would be in another boat. And this one particular day was absolutely incredible. Okay, now mind you, when I say early, I'm talking the sun's just coming up. You take your thermos of coffee with you. you don't have anything to eat because you don't have time. You just want to get out there. And we got out there. We were catching fish. We were slaying these fish. So Kevin and I used to have like a competition and say, well, whoever catches more fish, the other person has to be their slave for the day. Like, you have to go get them a beer, you have to wait on them, and you know, it was fun. Well, I used to have him put my worm on and take my fish off the hook. But when we started making the competition, well, of course he's going to take his fish off the hook before my fish off the hook, and you know, all this. So I learned how to do it myself. And this particular day, we filled up a basket of fish, and we're talking panfish. We had perch, bluegill. We would throw the crappie or crappie, whatever they're called, back. But it was yeah, perch, bluegill, and was it sunfish or something? I can't remember, but there's like 3 different kind of fish. And we filled this basket up. And then we had one of those things that you put through their mouth and then hang off the side of the boat. We filled that up. Then we had a cooler. We started throwing fish in the cooler with some water. We could not do this fast enough. And so we were starving. We had to use the bathroom. We were absolutely starving. Well, he could use the bathroom. You know how guys do. But we were I mean, it's like lunchtime, and we hadn't ate anything, and we wanted to go back in, but we wanted to be able to go back out to the same spot. We called it our honey hole. And so we took something that was weighted, and then I think it was something that would float, I don't know, and we put it so that we could go back to that spot. Well, we get back out, so we go in and we eat lunch, and you know, we put all the fish somewhere. I don't know what we did with the fish, because we would fish all day, and then the guys would clean the fish all night while us women were making dinner and stuff. So we went back out. We found our spot. And this is the funniest part. I was catching fish still, and Kevin was not. We're fishing, sitting right next to each other, and I'm pulling them in, and I'm pulling them in, and he is not like getting a nibble. And so I don't know. He was getting very frustrated, obviously. And so he's like, well, what is the deal? Maybe it's your pheromones, or maybe there's something in your system from what you ate or whatever. And he's like, can I rub my worm on you? And I'm like, dude, that's a little weird. But anyways, we used wax worms, and they're little white. They look like little grubs, which is disgusting. But you know, I like to fish, and I suffer through the disgusting part. But he seriously would rub his worm on my hand, and then he started catching fish. Is that weird? So how does that happen? Like, how do you go from catching tons of fish, both of you, to then, you know, maybe he had something with garlic in it, and it was getting on the worm and it was turning them up. I don't know. But I just found that fascinating. I find it funny. We had so much fun. And then, after, if the fishing wasn't good in the afternoon, then we would come in, and then they would just go tubing and skiing and do all kinds of fun stuff with the boat if the fishing wasn't good. But this was with Kevin's brothers, his wives, and their kids. So there was a bunch of kids. There was a pool at this campground that we stayed at. We stayed in cabins that were wonderful, and it was seriously some of the funnest summers of my life was spent doing that. And we quit going because there was the SARS scare. Another reason, Kevin's mom was getting older, and going through Toronto used to just, her nerves would just, she would get way too nervous. And then also Kevin's oldest brother, he fostered some Sudanese kids that he had 2 boys and a girl at one point, and then he fostered, I think another one was one of their cousins or something. Anyways, the Sudanese are very black. I mean, their skin color is very black. That'll be a story for some other time, a very beautiful story. But they, you know, I don't want to go into the whole Sudanese thing. I'll wait until I tell the whole story. But they had a hard time getting them over the border because they weren't their kids, you know, and then it just got too complicated to go anymore. But what I would like to do is to do a reunion. I think that we should, all of his family and us should go again and do that for a week, because Kevin's family is amazing. Everyone gets along. Nobody dislikes anybody. We're all Catholic Christians. We all have the same values and the same morals, and it's just a beautiful family. And the family, you know, has grown exponentially since then because, you know, his brother's kids have had kids. You know, Brianna has a child and another one on the way, so there'd be a lot of little ones running around. Oh my gosh, we got to do it. Anyways, that was a long story. So that's it for this week, guys. Thank you so much. Keep the questions coming. Ask me anything. As you know, I'm pretty much an open book. And thanks for all your support. Thank you for purchasing my patterns so that I can stay in business because I don't want to do anything but what I'm doing. And I wish you a great week. I hope that you get lots of stitching done or punching or quilting or whatever it is that is your passion. And I hope you have dry, sunny weather. Until next time, bye.